Some battles don't leave scars on your skin. They etch themselves into your soul. They arrive in silence. No warning, no explosion. Just a quiet moment when you realize you've been forgotten. And from that silence, you see yourself clearly. Worn out, unseen, but still standing. Welcome back, warriors. This is your shelter from the noise. Your battlefield for inner strength, where we choose discipline, clarity, and fire. There's a moment in life that cuts deeper than anything.
And it doesn't even make a sound.
It doesn't crash through your door. It doesn't announce itself. It slips in quietly, gently, and then it breaks you. It happens when the laughter fades. The room empties. Your phone sits silent for hours, and suddenly you realize you're
not loved, you're just used. You're not seen, you're simply tolerated. You're convenient. And in that silence, the weight drops on your chest like concrete. That is the real battlefield, not the one you see online with filters and fake smiles. The one no one claps for, the one inside, you know it.
You've lived it. You were the one they called at 2 a.m. when their world collapsed. But when their skies cleared, your name disappeared. You were the one who gave when you had nothing left but fumes and faith. And when your knees buckled, no one noticed. You picked yourself up. You brushed off the pain. You pretended everything was fine. That's not weakness. That's not foolishness. That's strength the world doesn't even recognize. We glorify resilience, but no one talks about how lonely it feels, how brutal it is to keep giving when your soul is dry. We say stay strong, but who's there when you finally break? Let me tell you something real. True mental toughness isn't built through cold showers or gym selfies. It's built in the silence of your apartment when no one texts back. In the smile you fake at work after crying in your car. In the 100 times you buried your pain just to avoid burdening others. That's the arena. That's the fire. The place that forges something unshakable inside you. Marcus Aurelius lived in that fire. People love quoting him now, but few understand the weight he carried. He was emperor of Rome, but also a grieving father. A soul crushed under responsibility. A man battling shadows. He wrote meditations not to impress the world, but to survive it. He wasn't trying to be a philosopher. He was just trying to stay sane. And maybe you've never ruled an empire. But if you've ever had to rebuild your will to live after it's shattered, then you've lived Stoicism deeper than most ever will. This isn't a video about lofty quotes or ancient wisdom. It's about your pain, your life, your silent battles. These Stoic lessons aren't theory, they're tattoos burned into your soul. They're truths you've learned the hard way. You don't need a scroll to tell you how to endure. You've already done it. But here's the tragic part. Most of us never give ourselves credit. We bury the pain, call it normal, and move on. As you start to face yourself in the silence, Stoic principles don't just nudge you, they cut deep, but not to hurt. They cut to heal something inside you that's been bleeding for far too long. And by the end of this, you won't just get Stoicism, you'll live it. You'll look back at your life and realize you weren't weak, you weren't broken, you were being forged, layer by layer, scar by scar. Now do something bold. Comment this below. I was built through what I survived. Let the world know you're not ashamed of your past. You're defined by the strength it gave you. Before we begin, like this video, share it with someone walking through their own fire, and subscribe to this channel. Don't skip a second. The very sentence that might change your mindset might be the one you almost skipped. We're diving into the truth now, not from a polished quote in a book, but from the dirt, the pain, the real mess life hands you. Let's begin. Principle number 1. Control what you can, then let go. Have you ever woken up with that same weight pressing on your chest? Still waiting on a message you know won't come? Still rereading old conversations hoping you missed a sign? Still looping through memories, thinking maybe, if you tried a little harder, it'd all go back to the way it was. But deep down, you know it's over. That's when pain starts carving itself into your bones. You gave everything to someone who couldn't carry it with you. You fought for love that didn't fight back. You poured your soul into something, only to watch it slip through like sand. That kind of loss makes you question your worth. But then Marcus Aurelius slaps you with a truth. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You can't control the storm, but you're still the captain of your ship. The day you stop trying to bend the wind and start steering your own soul, that's when everything changes. You've cried in rooms full of people, smiled through your lowest days, swallowed your pain just to avoid burdening others. But that pain, it doesn't weaken you, it chisels you into someone unstoppable. How many times did you rehearse conversations that never happened? How many nights did you beg your heart to shut up while your brain tried to make peace? You thought letting go meant losing. But sometimes letting go is how you win. You've been gripping a rope tied to something long gone, burning your hand.
Silently, afraid to let go because you forgot who you are without it. But the truth?
You're not here to fix everything, you're here to face it and free yourself. You can't make love grow in dead soil. You can't beg someone to see your worth. You can't rewind time, but you can rewrite the meaning. Look at the ashes and say, that chapter broke me, but it also built me. Stop chasing ghosts. Start chasing peace. Your peace. Control isn't about power over others. It's power over your thoughts, your energy, your choices, your boundaries, and every time you let go of what doesn't serve you, you win. So stop tying your worth to what's already walked away. Stop losing sleep over people who sleep fine without you. Drop the rope, let the fire die, and walk out of the smoke with your head high and soul clean. You weren't born to beg. You weren't just born to endure. You were born to rise. If that last part hit deep, comment below. I only hold what strengthens me. Principle number 2. Use pain as a forge, not a curse. Pain isn't here to punish you. It's here to wake you up. It's not a sentence. It's a transformation. We've been conditioned to numb it, avoid it, silence it. But the truth? Pain is the birthplace of every version of you that finally stopped bleeding and started fighting. It tears away your illusions, burns through your comfort, and forces you to meet the raw truth of who you really are. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That wasn't just philosophy, it was forged in war, grief, betrayal, loss. He didn't write from a golden throne. He wrote from the trenches of a breaking heart. And he kept standing because he didn't run from pain. He used it. Now look at yourself. How many times did life fall apart, only for you to rise stronger? That breakup. It taught you not to accept half love. That job loss. It showed you your worth isn't in a paycheck. That anxiety, it forced you to master your mind like a sword. In the moment it felt like dying, didn't it? But that's the trick. Pain doesn't show you the next door. It rips the old one off its hinges. Mental toughness isn't faking smiles or pretending you're okay. It's standing in the fire. Fists clenched, soul screaming and refusing to fall. Pain doesn't ruin you. It removes the weaker version of you. It kills what tolerated betrayal, mediocrity, disrespect, and births something unbreakable. You are steel in the forge. Each betrayal a hammer, each loss a flame, each moment you almost gave up and didn't. That's when you were sharpened. You weren't falling apart. You were being reforged. You became someone who doesn't flinch in chaos, doesn't break under pressure, and doesn't beg for peace. You stare the storm in the face and say, I was born for this.
And those scars you've hidden, let them show. They are proof, not of weakness, but of power. Proof you didn't crawl through hell just to stay the same. You emerged sharper, hardened, bulletproof. That's the purpose of pain, not to destroy,
but to reveal. Stop cursing the fire, claim it, wear it like armor. Don't bury your broken pieces, build with them. Because when pain stops being your prison, it becomes your power. Comment this with your chest. My pain shaped the weapon I am. You've been forged in fire, but to stay unbreakable, you need to protect what fuels that fire, your inner world. Think about the times you let someone too close enough to twist your thoughts, stir your emotions, and blur your reality. Fake friend who wore a kind smile but left your mind spinning. A partner who made love feel like walking on glass. Beautiful 1 second, bleeding the next. Or maybe it was a situation that looked golden from afar, but up close it was rust. Pain wrapped in pretty lies. They didn't scream, they didn't punch. They used silence like a weapon, inconsistency like poison, drop by drop. And by the time you realized it, your inner world was already burning. That's why Stoicism doesn't whisper, it roars. Guard your mind, protect it like a fortress under siege. Because when everything else falls apart, your job, your health, your relationships, if your mind is still standing, you win. You can lose everything and still rebuild as long as you haven't lost yourself. But most people leave their minds
wide open, scrolling through garbage, absorbing everyone else's chaos, saying yes when their soul is screaming no, letting strangers on a screen tell them how to think, feel, live. They confuse being available with being valuable.
Then wonder why they're exhausted, disconnected, and off course. This isn't depression, it's invasion. It's what happens when you leave your mental gates unguarded for too long. You need to become the gatekeeper of your energy, your time, and your peace.
Not everyone gets in. Not everyone earns a seat at your table. Stop treating loyalty like self-sacrifice. You weren't born to bleed for people who wouldn't even offer you a bandage. Start pulling back, not because you're bitter, but because
you finally understand your peace isn't selfish, it's sacred. Going quiet isn't weakness. It means you've outgrown the noise. Your mind is a temple. Your thoughts are the architects of your reality. And you don't let people walk in with muddy boots. Let the wrong ones call you cold. Let them misunderstand your silence. That's not your problem anymore. You're not here to explain your growth to those still addicted to chaos. You're here to build a life that feels like freedom, not just survival. Let them say, you've changed, because you have. And that change, it's called transformation. In the last chapter, you learned to guard your inner peace like a fortress. Now it's time to do something harder. Voluntarily walk into discomfort before life forces you to. Comfort wraps chains around your ambition and calls it peace. But peace without strength is just fragility. And fragility is not your destiny. Picture a warrior. He doesn't wait for the enemy to knock. He trains in the silence. He sharpens his blade while the world sleeps. Not because war is here, but because it's always coming. And here's the truth. If you haven't been tested, you'll crumble at the first hit. Life won't send you a warning. It will barge in and demand answers. You either collapse or you rise, and rising. That requires training. Voluntary discomfort is your armor. It's the mental steel that turns "I can't" into "I've already faced worse yesterday." It's skipping meals to build self-control. Choosing solitude to meet your real self in the silence, saying no when everyone expects a yes. Walking the lonely road while others celebrate mediocrity. It's not extremism, it's preparation. Because when your world breaks, and it will, comfort won't save you. But that fire you trained with, the hardship you welcomed, that's what will carry you through. 5. Face mortality. Live with urgency. You're dying. Slowly, quietly. Every breath you take steals one from your future. And yet, most men walk through life like it's a warm-up round, like there's some secret encore, like they can snooze purposefully and still wake up fulfilled. But time, it doesn't care. It doesn't pause, it doesn't wait. It slips through your fingers while you scroll, while you hesitate, while you pretend you have forever. Marcus Aurelius didn't write in poetry. He wrote in pain. He said, "You could leave life right now." Let that determine what you do and say and think. That wasn't inspiration. It was a dare to live before death claims you. So let me ask, how long will you stall? How many days will you treat like trash? How many dreams will rot while you wait for stars to align? Let me be real, there is no someday, there is no later. There's only now, and even now is slipping away. If you've ever sworn to make time matter, declare it below. I live like I'm dying, because I am. After facing death
and urgency, there's only one path left: transformation. They left. You shattered. Everything you built, gone. The people you trusted, vanished. And for a moment you thought, this is it.
Credits roll. Story ends. But it wasn't the end. It was the beginning of your test. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He didn't mean that as a metaphor. He meant
heartbreak. He meant betrayal. He meant failure. That is the way. Life wasn't breaking you.
It was shaping you. When the business collapsed, when the girl ghosted, when your mind cracked from the pressure, you didn't just suffer, you got stripped. The masks came off, the comforts were peeled away. And what was left? You, raw, real, unfiltered. You may have asked, why me? You may have cursed the silence. But Stoicism doesn't console you. It cuts through the pity and says, why not you? You asked for strength. But what did you expect? Strength doesn't arrive like a blessing. It shows up as fire, chaos, and pain. And while most people collapse under that pressure, you rebuild inside it. You weren't being punished. You were being prepared, refined, sharpened. That storm, it didn't come to destroy you. It came to reveal what can't be broken. Every betrayal, a mirror. Every heartbreak, a reminder. Every time you hit your knees, a whisper. Rise different. The test was never about pain. It was always about your response. That's where your power
Leaves every legend you admire. They broke first, they bled, they doubted, but they didn't give up. They rose in the fire. So the next time life hits you so hard you can't breathe, don't collapse. Don't give it your power. Stand up, clench your fists, say it out loud. This is my storm. I'm not here to survive.
I'm here to win through it. You've made it through all 6 Stoic Truths. Now ask yourself, will you just remember them, or will you live them? The clock's ticking, the storm's coming, and you rise.